Welcome back to the I Choose Today podcast. I'm your host, Mo Hearn, and I am so glad you're here with me today. I almost didn't record this episode today. Not because I didn't have time, but because I didn't feel like I had anything to give. I just got back from my trip to Colorado. It was full of people, full of moments, full of connection, full of blessing. And at the end of my trip, I went to the Kerygma conference in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Over 1,000 women were there. Some powerful messages, beautiful worship. And yet, if I'm being completely honest with you, I still felt distant. Not from the people, but from the Lord. And that's hard for me to say out loud because I never want to come across like I'm just being negative or discouraged all the time. That's not my heart. That's not what I want this ministry to feel like. But I've learned something. If I only show up when everything feels strong and steady, then I'm not actually inviting you into the real walk with God. I'm inviting you into a filtered version of one. And that's not what this space is meant to be. So today, I'm not coming to you full. I am coming to you honest. And for me, this is what it looked like. Before I stepped into ministry, I was pouring into the people around me. But it came out of a natural rhythm of life. It wasn't forced. It wasn't constant. It just flowed from being with the Lord. But somewhere along the way, as I stepped into ministry, the pace changed. I found myself pouring out more and at a deeper level while still carrying the normal rhythms of life. And before I even realized it, I was giving out more than I was receiving. Not because Jesus was holding anything back from me, but because I had stepped out of balance. And I didn't notice it right away because I was still showing up, still doing the right things. But something underneath had shifted. And I think that's why this phrase has been following me this entire trip that I was just on. The phrase is, return to your first love. I heard it more than once. In quiet moments, in prayer, and then again confirmed through one of the speakers at the conference. And here's what struck me. Even after hearing it, even after being surrounded by worship and truth and thousands of other believers, I still didn't feel that closeness I had been missing. And for a moment, that could feel discouraging. Like, Lord, I'm here. I'm showing up. Why don't I feel you the way I used to? But I want to pause right there because I think this is where we can misunderstand what's happening. Feeling distance doesn't always mean God is far. Sometimes it means He's inviting us deeper. In Revelations 2, 4, and 5, Jesus is speaking to the church, and He says, You have left your first love. Now return. He doesn't say that in anger. He doesn't say it to push them away. He says it to call them back into relationship. Not performance. Not production. Not doing more for him. Just coming back. And I think that's where I am right now. I'm not burned out. I'm not walking away, but aware that somewhere along the way, in the doing and the writing and the recording and the showing up, I've missed him. Not completely, but deeply. And I miss that closeness. Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're still showing up. You're doing all the things. You're still praying, still reading, still going to church. But something feels different, quieter, more distant. Not dead, just not as close. And here's the temptation in moments like that. We try to fix it, right? We try to recreate that feeling. We try to press harder. We try to manufacture what used to come naturally. But relationships don't work like that. James 4:8 doesn't say, feel close to God and then he'll respond. No, it says, draw near. Even when you don't feel like it yet. Even when it feels quiet. Even when you're sitting in a room full of worship and your heart isn't responding the way you expected. That's where I am. I didn't have some big emotional moment at the conference. I didn't walk away feeling instantly reconnected. But I walked away with something more important. An invitation. Return. And I'm choosing to trust that even if I don't feel closeness immediately, he is still there. He hasn't moved. Mark 1:35 shows us something so important. And in the morning, long before daylight, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. Even Jesus. He stepped away from the crowds, from the ministry, from the demands, to be with the Father. Not because he had nothing to give, because he knew where everything came from. And I think sometimes we try to keep pouring out without stepping away. We keep showing up. We keep giving. We keep creating. But if we're not careful, we start pouring out from a place that isn't being refilled. And eventually, we feel it. That's why I've been praying about something that might seem simple, but feels really significant for me. Taking a break. Not from God, but from output. From the constant writing, recording, producing, to reconnect with my first love. I'm not walking away from what God has called me to. I'm just creating space to sit with Him again. Because I don't want to build something that looks strong on the outside, but is disconnected at the source. I don't want to keep pouring out words if I'm not sitting with the one who gives them. And maybe that's where this lands for you today. Not in a dramatic, life-altering way, but in a quiet, honest question. Have I been doing things for God without being with Him? If the answer is yes, there's no shame in that. Just an invitation. Return. Not with pressure. Not with expectation. Just with honesty. So here's today's step. Don't try to have a perfect quiet time today. Don't try to fix the feeling. Just sit with Him and say what's true. Lord, I miss you. That's it. Not performance. No script. No pressure. Just relationship. Because here's what I know. Even in the middle of this, I may not feel the closeness right now, but I trust that it's coming. Not because I've done everything right, but because He is faithful. And if you're in that same place today, you're not alone. You're not a failure. You're being invited. So today, I choose to return to my first love. And I invite you to do the same.